Alex Pino with MMA Mania. I'm here with Roy Nelson, who returns to action on November 10th at Game Bred Bare Knuckle MMA. Roy, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm very happy to be talking with you. You're 14 days out. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I mean, it's Friday, so the weekend's creeping up tomorrow. So I'm feeling really good.
You know what? I think when it was announced that you were going to be fighting Bare Knuckle, everyone was just like, "Yeah, I mean that makes perfect fucking sense." I guess did you kind of have the same reaction? Like, wow, like obviously you're on the latter half of your combat sports career, but like bare knuckle just kind of fits you for some reason.
Yeah, no, it was. You know what, the bare knuckle thing, it just kind of crept on me because it wasn't even anything I even thought of. It was just I was just like, oh, trying to put a filler out for boxing, and then this kind of fell on my lap, and I was like, oh, sure. And then I had 2 weeks to train, and I was like, let's do it.
Now that it's been 6 months since your fight, um, I guess how like and now you've had some time to kind of reflect on it. Like, how'd you feel about that first go around?
I feel now I'm a little bit more prepared. So I mean that's the biggest difference is because it's definitely a different feeling. So I mean going out there and just trying to like when you ask questions that you don't quite get it until you actually you go, oh, I did it, and then you're like, oh, that's what I got to do. I got to work on this. I got to work on that, and you just kind of realize there's a big gap from regular MMA, bare knuckle MMA, and boxing and bare knuckle, like just the whole like gamut. You're like, oh, this is like a regular street fight.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I was asked is like, how different is it training for a bare knuckle MMA fight?
Training's pretty much the same. The only difference is conditioning your hands. That's about it.
Mm. And how do you do that?
That's a kung fu secret.
Yeah, makes sense, makes sense. And I think I remember you saying that like prior to your fight, like at this point you're kind of just checking off bucket list things to do. So I mean, is boxing the next kind of thing that you're trying to do? I saw that you were tagging Nate Diaz and Jake Paul to maybe box on an undercard or maybe box them. Like what? Like are you trying to box? What is the one trying to say?
First of all, Nate's too small to box me. But Jake likes to beat up the smaller guy. So then I'm a bigger guy, so I can beat up a smaller guy on for Jake. So like I'm okay to take a 7-figure, 8-figure payday. I have no problem doing that. But no, I just want to get on a boxing card. That's just like one of those bucket list things where you like combat sports. I just kind of check I want to get before I hang them up and call it a day.
I mean, it makes sense, man. It makes sense. And you're right. Jake Paul always gets flack for fighting smaller guys, so I think it's time for him to fight a bigger guy.
Yeah, no. I mean, the only time he ever fought anybody that was his size was Anderson Silva. Or everybody else he's fighting 170ers, and then he's like, come up, come up. So it'd be fun to see him fight an actual 205 or something like that.
Right, right. So you're fighting Alan Belcher, who's had a big BKFC run. He's fought bare knuckle for a few years now. I guess when you got that name, what do you think of it automatically? Because everyone who's watched the sport for more than a few years are like that guy used to fight at middleweight, now he's fighting at heavyweight. Like
No, he's definitely put on the size, and then you know that's I think that's why we're fighting in Mississippi, because I mean all they do is check and see if you have an HIV, so I think besides that we're good.
um how I guess just plain and simple, like obviously you have the wrestling and grappling advantage, you have the power advantage. I guess kind of like how do you see this fight kind of playing out? Like, are you gonna stand there and bang, or is it gonna be a mixed martial arts fight?
The thing is about bare knuckle is you're always taking the head off, like, because it hurts, and if you get hit, you're like, oh, I got to give one back. It's just like the nature of the beast. But it's bare knuckle MMA, and like for me, I'm looking to beat Allen, and then after Allen, then we fight Junior, and like those are like, I'm just trying to get my bucket list, and I'm like, if I can retire with the belt, or whatever it is, plus get my boxing match, like I'm just like, I'm doing one fight at a time, having a good time, We're out, we're just out there just to put on a show for a lot of fans.
Yeah, so you get through Alan Belcher, you fight JDS, and there's a storyline there because he was your first UFC loss, right? So, um, I guess that would be some, I guess, fun revenge. Would you say that?
Yeah, no, it's definitely, it's one of those things like, like, hey, I back then I just ran out of time. Now I got more time. So it's like, I only had 15 minutes. Now I got another 25.
Right, right, and it'd be kind of weird, like for JDS side because he just fought Verdum and he handed Verdum a loss that got him out of the UFC. If he fights you, he handed you his first loss. So it's like this weird MMA has weird timing and very weird angles, you know.
Yeah, no, it's just like I waited around for 2 years for a Fedor fight, like, and then because that was the only fight that I've been like, that's the one fight I want. I want the fight. And then Scott Coker dangled and dangled and dangled and dangled, and then I'm like, oh, because that was just one fight I wanted, because I beat Crow Cop, I beat Noguera, and Fedor was one guy I wanted to fight, so I could be like, I beat the trifecta, I beat all three.
Right. No, 1000%, dude. That I think we were all waiting for that one as well. So I mean, at the end of the day, man, November 10th, how do you get your hand raised?
Just get my hand raised. That's all that matters. It has to. It's going to be. It definitely has to be very decisive. That's all I know, is because we're in Mississippi.
1000%. Before I let you go, I just have some random questions outside of your fight. First of all, what's your beard procedure? How do you keep it nice?
You know what? A good solid wet brush,
Mm, okay.
so it comes through all the knots and stuff, and then good old fashioned suave shampoo.
Okay. Oh, I mean, it makes perfect sense. I did want to ask, what were your thoughts on Sean Strickland winning the middleweight championship?
That was, it was freaking awesome to see Sean. I mean, because Sean's gone a whole 360, because like, how you've seen, like, from like Dan Henderson to everybody, like, oh, he was a dick and like in the, and you know what, he was like that all the way up until he became champion, and then all of a sudden there's this new crown, his new, and his demeanor towards like the team, being a team leader, is come full circle. So it's like, um but it's good for Sean, and then plus it shows how your mentality is the biggest part in MMA that'll get you through a lot of diversity in MMA, because I mean, you saw him at the end where you're sitting there talking. It's kind of like how Nate or Nick will be talking to their opponent and be like, that doesn't hurt, let's go, and they just keep on going, and then they're still there in your face, and like, basically, you got to put me away.
Yeah, 1000%. Another teammate, Francis Ngannou, is fighting tomorrow against Tyson Fury. I guess just what were your thoughts on that? Are you giving Francis a shot to win?
You know what, Francis always has a shot, because it definitely has power. The one thing is, it depends on how Tyson boxes. If he's just going out and just doing the sweet science and just playing the stick and move, kind of like a Mayweather type thing, then definitely he'll outbox him. Just the straight boxing part. But if it gets into that, the dirty and gotta, like sling some mud, I don't know. Francis might throw a uppercut from, all the way out here. You just don't know. So it's kind of, it depends on, like, because sometimes boxers kind of get, and heavyweights, we kind of get into that, that firefight and want to throw. And then sometimes you just and then I know boxers, sometimes they just want to box and play tag and go, and they're like, all I got to do is get 10-9, 10-9, 10-9, and just they already know that they're going to try to score 10 rounds, or all I got to do is get 6 of the 10. You know what I mean? Like, that's what they're thinking. That's how boxers think. MMA guys don't think that way. We always try to go, how do I finish this fight?
Right, 1000%. And then finally, I always like asking fighters this. You've had a long career. If you could pick one person to rematch, who would it be?
We'll go with JDS.
I mean, it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. Awesome, Roy. Thank you so much for your time, man. I really appreciate it. Oh, it's an absolute honor to speak with you. If you want to plug your social media, you want to plug any sponsors, you want to thank anybody, the floor is all yours.
I always want to thank, my family, my friends that always support me, the fans. And always follow me at Roy Nelson MMA on Instagram, Twitter or X or whatever it is now, Facebook, and also RoyNelson.com.